Welcome. My name is Nathan, and for my senior project, I did the history of residential construction, and I built a 10 by 20 dock shed for Wyatt Vita. A little bit about me, my family. It's a family of four. My mom, Tanya Mohnen, my dad, Scott Mohnen, and then my sister, Caitlin, is just graduating high school or college at SDSU to be a vet. I got two hobbies, hunting and fishing pretty much is about all I do in my free time. Future plans is I'm going to work for Mohnen Roofing right after high school. I chose my topic because I like to build things. I've never built anything big, and I thought to learn about the history and how it has changed of residential construction. I didn't really want to learn too much about the commercial side, so I chose residential. It was a learning stretch because I did not have much knowledge on the residential side and like how things have changed from the early 2000s to now. The research paper we did at the beginning of the school year in the fall. Then we did our field work and final project November through March, and we worked on our binders throughout the whole season. And then we're presenting here in May. My research topic was the history of residential construction. My thesis statement is the evolution of residential construction reflects economic and technological shifts, illustrating how changing materials, architectural styles, and building practices have influenced the changes. Interesting information that I learned is how the design of houses have changed. Like back then they wanted separate rooms for everything, like the living room, the kitchen, but now it's more open. A lot of people want the more open look. High ceilings is a lot more popular now in buildings. And then for countertops, a lot of people are getting concrete countertops instead of the older ones. 3D printing is being used a lot now in buildings. And then a new concrete has been made where when it rains, the water goes into the cracks and it like heals it. There's certain minerals in it, so it makes it last a lot longer. For my mentor was Mark Gerke, and he attended Mitchell Tech for construction and then owned his own construction business for a while, and he's out of that now. For my field work, we started in my shed. We built it because it was cold out, so we were able to work on it when it was cold. We worked after school, like later at night, because he had to work on the farm, and then when he had time to come in, he would come in. And then once it warmed up, we got it out of the shed and took it over to Wyatt's where we could tin it and do the other part of it, so we wouldn't have to worry about messing up the tin when traveling it over there. So some of the pictures here, we're doing the floor. We had to center the studs. We put it on runners, and then we put 2x4s on top of the runners so we'd be able to lift it up. And then we also ripped the 2x6s to 5 inches. We did all green treated for the flooring so the moisture and stuff wouldn't rot it out too fast. Put the studs 19 in a diamond instead of 16 inches so we wouldn't have to use quite as many. Here we're putting it together, which was very difficult. It got really heavy after we put the bottom layer on, and then had to lift it in and slide it in there, and then anchor it in. I had to get quite a bit of help to do that. Here's it when it was all done. I went and sealed up all the cracks where the plywood butted up together so that try to keep mice and stuff out of the insulation we put in there so we keep the dogs nice and warm. And then the ISO board on top after we got all the insulation in there. Here I built the walls while waiting for Mark, because we had limited time with him. This is a tall wall here, which was way too tall, so it would have looked funky. So after we got it built and realized that it was going to be too tall, we had to take one side off, and then we cut about a foot off of every 2x4 to shorten the side of. It is already, even after that, it's still plenty tall for a dog shed. And then here is the door. Had to build the header and stuff. We didn't use 2x6s for the headers on this one. We just used 2x4s. And then here we got it hoisted up and anchored it down so it wouldn't tip over because we weren't able to start on the side walls. We ran out of time. And then here we put the rafters in before we did the walls because we wanted to build the walls right into the ceiling, the rafters. So we notched out the rafters, 2x6s, so it would be at the right angle, and then put 2x4s in between them to help give more support and anchor them in there. And then here's building the wall, how we built it into the 2x6s that were on the roof. Notched it out so it kind of fit in there right. And here we did the windows. And this one for the headers, we did the 2x6s. And then we had to, since we're doing tin, we tinned it. We had to put the frame out 2x4s all the way around it, so we'd have something to anchor the tin to. That way it wouldn't flap around. And we were going to spray foam insulation, so it would give us more room to put spray foam in there. Had to do that on the ceiling, on the roof, and on the walls all the way around. Here, built frame the dog doors in, and then had to do the same exact thing around the outside. Had to get the right measurements for the dog doors. There'll be 4 dog kennels, and in the inside there'll be 4 dog kennels, and you'll be able to fit roughly 3 dogs in each kennel, so you'll be able to get a lot of dogs in there. I think he plans on having puppies, so should keep him busy. Here we're moving it out. Got Tyson to help us, borrowed his telehandler. We had to pull it out on skids, get some jacket up, put some posts underneath of it so we could roll it out far enough, and then we could get it picked up from the side and set it down on the trailer and trailered it over there. Then I house wrapped it so we would be able to insulate it and then put the roof on, the tin on the roof. This is after we tinned it, so we tinned the whole thing before we put the door and the windows in, and then we trimmed it, and then we went back and cut the windows and the door out. We put a trim all the way around the bottom, that way helps keep moisture and stuff from getting up under there. And then the short side, the door side, the tin was way too long, so we had to cut it, and we put a J channel at the top of that so it would hide our cutting and everything, so it would look good. Put more J channel in and the windows in and the door around all that, and then the trim up on top of the roof. Links I built. The dog shed is residential construction, building that, and I did the history of residential construction, so they went along pretty good. Some skills that I learned, academic skills, is the researching that we did at the first part of the year, writing the research. We had to find all of our sources, and we had to have books that we got from the South Dakota State Library. Some real world skills, time management, making sure we were working on it and getting what we could with the time we had. Organization with the binders, keeping everything organized, our note cards and everything, made it a lot easier. And when it came to time to put them together, it was a lot easier. Self-discipline, there was times I wanted to go fishing, but was not able to because I had to get this done. So I had to stay back and work on this. And then problem solving. We ran out of lumber a couple times, and waiting for things to get in, we had to work around that, do other things to keep us busy, keep us on track. Difficulties and challenges, probably the getting the floor in. The floor was definitely the hardest and most time consuming. Solution to that is we just got a lot of help. Wyatt and Kara, Ashton, and my dad were able to help, so that made it go by a lot easier. I gained from this, doing the senior project, is being able to know how to build something in the future. If I have to build a shed or anything for myself, I should hopefully know how to do it now. And then I'm most proud of how it turned out. I feel it turned out really good. A lot better than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a lot harder, but it didn't seem to be too bad. Research paper took me 22.75 hours. Field work took me 55.5 hours, and then the total hours on the entire project was 84.3 hours. That was doing journals and even classwork in here, not counting research paper and the field work. Wyatt paid for all the materials since it was for him, and this is all the materials that we got. They sent us this foam, but we did not end up using that because we figured that would be way harder and not as good insulation as the batting insulation. If I were to do this again, I would definitely probably build something for myself instead of for somebody else, but he said he needed one, and I took the opportunity and built it for him. I want to thank Mark Gerke, my mentor, White Lake School Board Administration for keeping this going, and Miss Nightingale for helping us on everything, and Wyatt for paying for the materials, and Tyson for helping us move it and everything. Are there any questions?
Did you have a blueprint to know how to build it, or did you design it yourself?
It was a really basic blueprint from, we went to Plank Lumber, so we got it from Rich Peters. It was really basic, just said height, width, and that was about it. And then Mark, with he had history, he was a construction guy, so he was able to help figure out what we wanted to do.
It looked like that sucker was heavy, maybe that's what you want. Would you do anything different with the, I guess, the overall construction of it? To make it maybe lighter, or maybe you didn't want it lighter, I guess, I don't know.
I think if I were to do one for myself, I would not have done the floor that way on skids. I would have built it on the location, so we wouldn't have had to move it and like put it on concrete, so everything would be flat. Once we got it over there to have level it, that was really difficult, getting it leveled, because it was on skids. And yeah, I would do the floor so it was just like a normal floor, not on skids. That was probably not the best idea.
Cause I was seeing in one of your pictures, I'm saying those dogs must be spoiled, I see Mark, and then the roof
Yeah,
was above Mark's,
it was
there's this little dog in this huge palace.
Yeah, it did not need to be.
I can
that
picture
tall.
you, possibly, tiny homes even, I mean, that would be a.
Oh yeah, I've said it multiple times. I said this is big enough to be a house easily.
Absolutely. So you can say you built a house and you
Yeah.
can build a house.
Yeah.
Did you put the insulation in there to keep them warm or?
In the winter mainly, just so, cause it's on runners, or wind and stuff going up underneath there. Kinda help with heating in the inside too. Cause there'll be a heater in there,
Okay.
then it wouldn't be so much cold air going in there.
What about in the summertime, is it gonna stay hot in there?
With it being insulated, it'll always stay cooler.
Okay.
We're doing spray foam insulation, so ours is spray foam that we have now, and it's always 10 to 5 degrees cooler in there than it is outside, and we never have a AC or anything in there, so.
I know you mentioned that after high school, you're thinking about going on and doing some spray. Do you have any thoughts about going into anything like this for a career, or?
Not really.
Okay.
In construction wise, maybe there'll be a couple months I'll have down, so maybe I'll work for a construction guy. I like doing it, I enjoy it, so maybe.
No, it looked great, very, very nicely done.
Did you go take a look at it?
I have not.
Did. She said maybe you'd have.
I will, I mean, after afterwards, I'll probably zip, is that why it's housed now?
Yeah, back in his backyard.